Full disclosure, the voice you are listening to now is artificially generated, brought to you by satisphonic.com. See the link in the description for more details. What product is the biggest scam, but people like it anyway? Anything by Gwyneth Paltrow? I'm sure I read once that pre-made cinema popcorn has one of the biggest price markups of any product in the world. They buy massive sacks that cost pennies and then charge a fortune for it. It costs more per ounce than filet mignon. That's why I bring a couple of pre-sliced, medium, rare center-cut tenderloins in my tuxedo's jacket pocket when I got to the movies. It's true, but there's a reason. The margins on theater concessions have to be crazy high just for theaters to stay open. Vast majority of box office goes to the studios, so theaters make or break at the concession stand. It's a lot like gas stations. Only a small percent of gas sales go to the station. They make their real money on everything they sell in the store. So if theaters charged a reasonable margin on concessions, they wouldn't exist. Source was Theater G. Car dealerships. $200 upcharge on a brand new car for nitrogen in the tires? They have no shame. So many dealerships lost my business because of this. I would find a truck I wanted, negotiated an out-the-doors price I was happy with. Then once we sit down to do paperwork, I see an extra $1 token charges, added, not taxed. When I ask for details, they say, $200 for nitrogen-filled tires, $1, 1 cent for anti-theft GPS tracker, $700 for custom tint job coating, or some BS like that. I would say I don't want any of that to give me out the door price we agreed upon. And they say they can't, but we can knock off $500 and throw in a free car, wash detailing, which should be included anyway. Even if the vehicle was a great price, I would let that extra $1, 1.5x be the deciding factor and just walk. Eventually, after the second time this happened to me, I would just start asking the question up front, are there any non-removable upgrades that your dealership installed, that is, will be charged and is not included on the sticker price of the vehicle? It made them so uncomfortable but saved me so much time. Trying to get you to waste so much time that you're uncomfortable turning down the extra $2,000 in fees was exactly their plan all along. Good on you for giving them a taste of their own brand of discomfort-inducing best. Trying to get you to waste so much time that you're uncomfortable turning down the extra $2,000 in fees. A friend of mine gave me a hot tip to deal with that. Have a nice, lazy day, followed by a decent dinner, then go to the dealership around 7:30, 8 pay. They typically close at 9, so you roll in late in their day, completely fresh and ready to go, while the salesmen have been running around all day trying to convince people to buy something. They want to be going home, and you're all set to play for a couple of hours. I haven't tried it myself, but it sounds like it could be a winning strategy. I wouldn't buy a vehicle with a dealer-installed GPS tracker if they have a discount for it. Worked at a car dealership for a bit. If you come in to get more nitrogen put in your tires, they just use regular air. I was the one that went to fill the tire once for someone. I asked one of the service advisors about it and was told they had the machine, but it wasn't hooked up and just used regular air. Lol God, I hated that job. Well, regular old Earth air is 78% nitrogen. $200 upcharge on a brand new car for nitrogen in the tires. Nitrogen is so 2020. One now. Tell them you want helium in the tires to help with your ampage. Herbalife, they must have done something special to manage to sell it to a lot of people. Not only tricking people into being individual sellers, but now many of them are opening storefronts disguised as coffee shops. As coffee shops, health drink cafes. They claim they have healthy shakes and teas, which are just Herbalife with candy and syrup piled on. The amount of people that buy into it being healthy is insane. If you have a new place opening locally, do your research about if it's a legit coffee or smoothie place, or one of these absolute disasters of a scam. This is still around. We all knew this was a scam in high school 15 years ago. It's just the reality that a really skilled salesman can sell people products they don't need. It's why mounds get big. And it's why a lot of mounds are started by the most successful salespeople from other mounds. With the right people early on, the product doesn't really matter. Of course, the converse to this is that if the product is bad, you can't get away with selling it forever. It's why snake oil salesmen had to leave town. And it's why people further down the line in Melms don't see success. They aren't skilled at sales, and the product is trash, so once people catch on, it becomes about duping someone into being in your supply chain, rather than moving product to actual customer. Friggin' printer ink cartridges. What a racket. Especially new printers that don't work if you use third-party inks, and that none will even print in black if any of the color ink is lower. I went into a timeshare sales pitch to get a $100 at a resort. 1 hour for $100. I was greeted and I said, "Hello, I'm doing well, thanks. Just a heads up, I'm not going to be buying a timeshare, but I will gladly listen to what you have to say. I won't be answering any questions or responding at all till the hour is over. Is that okay?" They said yes. Talked for an hour to a stone-dead face, and at the end, my phone dinged, and I said, "Thank you for taking the time to explain it to me, bye." They were so rude after that. It was amazing, but I got my $100 and out I went. Going into a timeshare sales pitch was one of the worst things that's ever happened to me. They wouldn't accept a no for an answer. I left the place feeling numb, wanting to cry after that bad experience. But hey, I got a free helicopter ride afterwards, lo. You can't bring a heart into it. You have to go in like a PSYOPs operative. Go in prepped for psychological warfare. You are above them. They are just an obstacle to get through. All that is between you and the free helicopter ride is their disappointment. You will earn your reward through blood. Paying for 3 different insurances, health, vision, and dental, when last time I checked, the last 2 are part of your body, therefore should fall under 1 health insurance. And don't forget that they will do everything in their power to not cover whatever they can. Copper fit products. I was so ready to write an impassioned screed about the value of traditional plumbing products. Then I realized you meant those scammer ass compression sleeves. Damn, I feel like I'm missing out now. Go off, bro. Shark bites and cemented plastic PVC keepsy are more convenient, but sweating pipes with a torch and solder looks better and makes old guys jolly when they see it. I know the copper does nothing, but I do love a compression sleeve, and that's what Walgreens had low. It keeps them from stinking when you sweat in them. It doesn't do anything it claims to, but copper is bacteriostatic. Oh my lord, I have a kid who was genetically gifted with horrific feet stench. Copper socks were a life-changing move. Don't let that fool you. Compression socks are game changers. I wear them daily, as someone who works on my feet all day. Compression socks are the difference between hobbling by the end of the day and feeling fine by the end of the day. They work. Anything purporting to cleanse your body. As long as you've got a functioning liver and kidneys, you're already cleansing toxins from your body. Timeshare's edit. The number of suckers in the comments trying to explain why actually the one they bought is not a scam is hilarious. So much so that there are now standalone companies devoted to freeing people from timeshare contracts. It's probably the same company. Buy it back for pennies on the dollar and resell at full price. I think John Oliver did a special on timeshares that revealed timeshare repurchasing companies are often the timeshare sellers themselves under a different name. Of course they are. That's disappointing. The old double scam. We went to a resort in Mexico a few months ago and had to sit through one of these. It didn't really feel optional, but they at least gave us spa dollars. I set the timer on my phone for 1 hour and had eaten an edible before. Thing kicked in hard midway through. I talked and talked and talked and talked. I talked about how I liked the way the shadow of something echoed the shape of something else. I liked the smell of the flowers flanking the walkway, and yes, we're going to stop and smell them. I talked at length about how they should be marketing to millennial dinks because we have loads of vacations ahead of us, where the boomers are getting old and feeble. I said aiding out. I wasn't rude. Timeshares are so boomer. No millennial is going to buy a timeshare, and their marketing tactics are so old and tired. Example, they gave me a key to open the suite so I could experience opening our suite, and it's like, this resort has bracelet keys. This isn't even accurate. My husband asked if I was trying to out-talk their time as a strategy, and I'm like, yep. At the end, some end boss came, and I said we had to leave because we wanted to go enjoy our vacation, and the hour is up, and he said I sounded like his ex-girlfriend. He asked if we're going to buy, and I said no. We said no at the beginning. He asked if it was something they did, pointing to the salespeople. I said no, they were great, but I didn't appreciate you comparing me to your ex. I can't decide if I'm brave or just a bitch when I'm stoned. Regardless, I'm not buying a damn timeshare. millennial here. I've never sat through a timeshare pitch, but now I know how I'm going to approach it if I ever am. Late Jenks, early Xennial, 1977, and I sat through one of those sales pitches for a timeshare. The payoff was $500 cash and a weekend stay in a suite at a Marriott at 6 different locations, one being Qatar. It was a lot for 3 hours of my time, but I trudged through it and got my payout, went to Cabo and never followed up. They tried to get me in for a signing, but I just ignored them. I accidentally signed up my boyfriend and I for a timeshare presentation, but we're getting a free 3D night stay in Vegas out of it. We have to sit through a 2-hour presentation and are very prepared to say no to everything. I did this, and then, when it came time for the talk, I lied and said I am about to go through bankruptcy and owe child support to make-believe kids. The salesperson just gave up after that. Thanks for the free Circus Soleil tickets. Circus Soleil tickets. Barben Platea. Influencers on social media. Many promote a product for the money and then don't mention the item ever again. Some even backtrack months, years later, stating they don't like the product, yet still promoted it to young people on limited budget. I feel like streaming platforms are starting to swing into scam territory by baiting everyone into joining with no ads and a low price. Then raising the prices and bringing back ads. Yup, Paramount Plus pissed me off with this, and their app is super glitchy. I'm getting unskippable football ads on Prime Video, which are fake, doesn't have multiple tiered subscriptions. Prime sucks lately too. I've noticed they have a lot less content and keep showing me shit I need to pay for or rent way more than previous years. I don't generally mind when there's a line or two dedicated to content to rent by, but mixing all the freebie crap into content included with Prime has me cancelling my subscription. It's too tedious to sort through. And then they remove content on the services. Mamsrim wonder why piracy is living its best life. Edit. Just pointing out sarcastically why piracy is a valid option. Just recently saw a few videos why piracy is justified at Cheps. VX3 Knemkeptegux 2 5 Vipskibdux Tipdux Dubsins Rospoke% 3 Deps. YouTube, Comwatch, Buvogzukuvos Christeti, 9S Tepigux 25, High Peep Sku 5 Hio Pepsums Epicoxen 0 hours, Puxbu Kippercent, 3 Jacks, Biku 5 6 6 6 Epicops to Q Speak Steps, Pix Peak Steps Piku. Having to pay a fucking subscription to use your heated seats. Phone internet bills. I live in Canada. The amount of money I pay for my phone and the internet is eye-watering compared to our neighbors in the south or the rest of the world, scammed by our own government and their telecom overlord. And now the two big ones have merged as if they didn't have a big enough monopoly. In England, I had unlimited data and more text minutes than I need for $15 a month. I think I'm paying around $60 in Canada, and my unlimited data becomes too outside of the city. This is where we were at in the UK 20 years ago. Home warranty insurance on appliances. You spend upwards of $1, took a year so that you don't have to buy a new $800 washer or $1,200 fridge outright if they go out. Just put the payment away for an appliance fund and you come out ahead 9 times out of 10. When you look at the reviews of the technicians they send, they are almost always second or below. I just had this asset technician come in, label everything as physical damage and ignore the blown motor in my ice maker. The warranty denied everything. Now I have to either give up the $100 service charge I paid or pay more out of pocket to get another technician to come in and certify what I already know in order to appeal the denial. Fuck fidelity. Minor textbook upgrades at the colleges require students to pay hundreds for to pass the class. You have to get access to the online homework app. You can't just get the app, you have to purchase a brand new, latest edition book that comes with an app code. Oh, you want the ebook? Here is the shittiest reader app ever that requires internet connection to view content. Fuck McGraw-Hill, fuck Cengage, fuck person. Frankly, the entire college textbook industry is a huge scam. You are telling me calculus has changed enough in the last 30 years to account for a new $100 book every year. When I taught statistics as professor, our department had enough copies of an older book that I just gave them to students and asked them to return them at the end of the semester. If they didn't, then they got it incomplete for the course until it was replaced. Nothing had changed in the last 20 years about computing a chi-squared. I accidentally post a PDF of the stats textbook I used, the LEMS, and point out my error to the class, then take it down after a few days. I don't use any of the stuff that requires a code. Fuck textbook publishers. Ultra-fast fashion clothes that fall apart after 2 uses and are infested with lead. My Jeff was watching an episode of the Kardashians the other day, and one of them was making a partnership with an eco-friendly fast fashion brand. Do you not see the irony in that? Infested with lead? Can you explain why? I'm at a loss. There's been many articles about Shane having lead contamination. I'm at a loss. Must be all the lead. Diamonds. I just spent a couple months engagement ring shopping with my girlfriend. The whole time, we kept doing more and more research saying, but there's got to be a reason people are paying tanks any other stone, including literally identical moissanites, for a diamond. There's got to be a reason. No, there's no reason. Diamonds are a scam. The end. For that matter, so are all name-brand jewelers. I went so far as to deeply research the raw materials and labor cost of fine jewelry, making as though I was starting my own business. The markup at name-brand jewelers is just stupid. Even Costco, which I feel like I usually count on to be reasonably low, markup. The whole industry is a massive scam. Because back in the day, you could only get diamonds from rivers in India by panning, and they'd find the weight of a small car annually. So they were pretty rare. Then they found the reserves in Africa and De Beers, restricted supply to maintain value, much like OPEC is doing to maintain oil prices at as close to $100 a barrel as they can get. That and ever-shifting marketing around quality. First it was about purity being valuable, but when lab diamonds showed up that were pretty much flawless, suddenly it was all about the little imperfections that make natural diamonds so valuable and who want something gross and perfect. Engagement rings as a concept were invented by them too. The hilarious thing about moissanite is it's actually more brilliant and flashes more colors than diamond, but for some reason that's painted as a drawback. Over and over, you'll see comments on jewelry selling sites like they're not as classy as diamonds or they look like a disco ball. They've taken something that's actually better than diamond and made it seem cheap and common. The diamond lobby, man. There is a reason why her engagement ring and both our wedding rings were bought on Etsy. Get it straight from an artist and isn't marked up through the roof. Lab diamonds for the win. Anyone that insists on having a mined diamond is superficial and has no issue with child slaves dying in the mines just so they can feel good about themselves, thinking they're better than someone who has a bigger molecularly identical diamond grown in an ethical setting for a fraction of the price. Flushable wipes. They're not really flushable. Spend the money on a bidet and never look back. There's no such thing as a flushable wipe if you have a septic tank. Ancestry DNA. They should be paying us for the data. For women, almost any product with a different women's version that is only different because it is pink. This is actually called the pink tax, because these products are nearly always more expensive than the men's version. On a much smaller scale, men have a jock tax, where products for their genitals are more expensive than the same thing for other parts of the body. One example I saw recently was cream for jock itch, 3 times the price of the same antifungal cream sold for foot fungus. Looks at my Warhammer miniatures nervously. Essential oils. They can smell nice though. Yep. Sniffing a fragrance you enjoy the scent of, maybe because it reminds you of a good person or place or time, can be a little temporary mood boost. But it ain't curing your lupus, Crystal. It ain't curing your lupus, Crystal. Speaking of crystals, neither is your collection of rose quartz and amethyst, but shiny rock critic. I mean, essential oils are lovely for Epsom salt baths and perfuming candles and food-safe ones in candy. But they're certainly not curing cancer. Healing crystals also, a lot of the time, the crystals are just glass. So what's the point of the token being non-fungible if the actual associated digital asset still is? I'll funge the shit out of those tokens. Religious fees or mandatory donation. My grandfather passed at 100. He would always say, always give the church 10% and then save 10% for yourself. I can't believe how much money they gave to the church over his lifetime. The church was absolutely devastated when they stopped attending in their 90s because he didn't agree with things the church did. After he died, my grandmother removed them from their will.
Yes, He planned on leaving the church stuff.
Social media influencers or celebrities promoting products. Moms. Chiropractors. Go to a physical therapist. They can help you with your physical pain with the added benefit of a medical degree. So much, yes. The terminal degree now for physical therapists is a doctorate, licensed APs who earned a master's in the past before the switch are grandfathered in, provided they keep up on continuing education and licensing guidelines. Physical therapists go to real, accredited universities that have science, departments that offer other medical programs as well. Physical therapists complete strictly supervised rotations in hospital, elder care homes, outpatient clinics, etc. Also, physical therapists will do collaborative care. Also, physical therapists will do collaborative care with your physician, not see them as competition. Bottled water. I hear you. I have relatives who come to visit and only think bottled water, even though our tap water is perfectly fine to drink and we have a bitter pitcher. But they think they'll die if they drink anything but bottled water. But PATs are a lot more money. Homeopathic anything. I buy it for the convenience when I'm traveling or out in the city or such. But never understood people who buy it to drink it at home. Unless the tap water isn't drinkable, but I feel there would be cheaper options for that problem too.